And we are live with another episode of Comic Talk. It's that show brought to you by The Keeg where we talk about this week's new comic book releases. New DC comics come out on Wednesdays, new DC comics come out on Tuesdays, new Marvel and indie comics come out on Wednesdays, and we're here on a Thursday, April 11th, 2024 to talk about everything that came out this week. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and if you are watching us live, you are watching us on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show. Or maybe you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. Wherever you guys are listening to us or watching us or whatever, like, comment, follow, subscribe, do your thing, write a review, let us know you're out there, and follow us on TikTok and Instagram at The Keeg Show. Pretty much social media everywhere at The Keeg Show or /The Keeg Show. I'm Dimithri Perera. I'm the host of Comic Talk, but we also got special guest Aaron Rhodes, a.k.a. King Krakoa. Aaron, how's it going, man?
It's going good, man. Just another day in the life,
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good was this week in terms of, like, comics and, like, readability?
I'm going to give it a good, just looking at my stack.
And this is all
here.
opinion-based, right? Because it depends on, like, what you read, right?
Right, just on top of my head. I'm going to give it a good 7,
Yeah, I would say it's a good solid 7. There's certain weeks where I'm like, there isn't much to read, and I'm like, much of the stuff that really resonate with me. And I read anything, right?
Exactly,
but, like,
that part.
My 10 out of 10 series, like my must-read series, those are a little bit different. Those I itch for,
exactly. Right. I need to read those. Like, I can't go through, like, if I'm going to start the week, I'm going to read, this is the first thing I'm going to read, for sure.
Right. Here's a question, though. What is your number one must-read comic right now? We used to ask this question a couple years ago when we first started this show, and then I realized we got talking about too many things that weren't for this, that came out this, on that given week. But, like, what's your one... like, your pick of the month?
Like,
I always ask pick of the week, but, like, what's your pick of the month?
That's a toughie right there. I'm gonna say, let me look in the back of this book real quick. I'm gonna say the right now just rise of the powers of X. Yeah. The falls of powers of 10.
Yeah. I mean, just because, like, X-Men is it's ramping up and powering down, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's doing both the same things, but, like, because I mean, it's finishing an
like
era.
Mortal X-Men, right? Like, because it's like Mortal X-Men and stuff. Yeah, and now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of it.
Merlin the Hermit is in our Twitch chat. I think that's Modern Merlin. Changed the name again. Modern Merlin, always change the name. Merlin the Hermit says can't stay long, but hey, what's up to Merlin out there? So yeah, I mean, I guess my pick of the week, or the pick, my all-time pick might be Batman Superman World's Finest. Like, that's like, like, I will always, like, the week it's out, I will always read it. I will, but X-Men titles, like, X-Men titles are, like, always my favorite to read.
Always going to be at the top, right? And I try not to be biased, but sometimes they actually hit. Like, I just can't help it.
It's kind of like, for me, I don't know if I told you, but, like, for me, my comic book tastes are, like, X-Men #1, but then most of DC, and then most of Marvel, Like, most of Marvel is, like, not as good to me as most of DC. But the only thing that, like, really makes Marvel to me is X-Men. And I read everything, of course. But, like, personal taste aside, like, X-Men, and then, like, Nightwing. The Nightwing series is really good. I love that. I love Titans. Anything Teen Titans related, So, like, it tends to be X-Men, and, like, most DC is, like, my thing.
Right. Yeah.
But Batman Superman World's Finest. Oof. It's so good.
Like, I just started getting into the Titans. I know. I just started getting into the recent Titans, but I've also started the Teen Titans World's Finest has been really good. I've
Hmm.
been actually
That's a mini
surprised
series.
that I
It
like
ends
it.
at like issue
Yeah,
6 or something.
yeah, I know, but I wanted it to be more, and I was I was surprised how much I liked it.
Yeah. Well, I think it really like is pushing Bumblebee towards like the
Yes,
spotlight, which is
that's
nice
why.
because Bumblebee is
Right,
often forgotten about.
very much so.
And so
Like
like Bumblebee is cool. I mean, Bumblebee's just as cool as like any other
Wasp,
shrinking, yeah,
right?
Ant-Man,
Like
like
when you think of her, you think of like yeah, Wasp and Ant Man. She's
yeah.
basically Wasp and Ant Man put together. She
Yeah.
has the genius of him, but the powers of Wasp.
And like at least she's younger and that's like
Yeah,
very marketable, you know?
right.
So like if you like that sort of thing and the way she interacts with the Teen Titans. Um
Hmm.
so out of I prepped all the images for this week. And for those of you who are watching us on our live stream, you can see the images. It's just a little perk that comes with watching our live stream. But if you're, listening to the podcast, don't worry. We'll be describing everything. What books did you read this week?
So this week I read X-Men 97 #2. I read Resurrection of Magneto #4. Weapon X-Men #2. Let's see here. Invincible Iron Man 17. Miss Marvel Mutant Menace #2. Ultimate X-Men #2. There's a lot of twos going on here. What else did I read here? I just got on Batman and Robin at #8 and Under the Wire.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else? I know what it
You read
is.
Action Comics?
Yes, Action Comics 1064.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one I read half of Wolverine #47.
Okay. Did you read Red Hood the Hill 3?
Oh yeah, I did read that. Yeah, I did.
And then
That
you read
lets you know
Sinister
where
Sons
that's
3
at.
or you didn't?
I skimmed through Sins of Sinister. And yeah,
Not
that
Sins of
also
Sinister. That's a
tells
different.
you.
Sins of Sinister is different.
God, force to habit. Jesus Christ, lets you know, guys. Mutants #1 in this
It's
household.
yeah.
But since Sinister Sons, I skimmed through it, and that lets you know I never skimmed through a book, and that should let you know where
Yeah.
that's at.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. I skim through some books sometimes. I'm just like, also sometimes I skim through it just to like get a sense of it to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I make it known to anyone out there that like my thoughts are of me having skimmed the book as opposed to like read it completely because there is a book that
Right.
I read this week that I did not understand and I feel like other people out there didn't understand it either. I don't know whether it's just
Hmm.
bad writing or whatnot. I
Oh,
don't
which one?
know. Um, and by the way, I don't know if I told you, but like I met some like writers recently, and I found out that
Oh.
like sometimes editorial because editorial like DC or Marvel they own the comics that the writers are writing for, right? Like writers don't. Their
Hmm.
writers are work
Right.
for hire, so you have to write
Exactly.
it and include things that maybe you don't even want to include. You got to put that in your story.
Hmm.
So I found out recently about specific writers, and maybe if I interview them on an interview, I'll be able to say who these people were. But there was
Yes.
like a really good writer that wrote a really bad run that like was and but it's not bad. It was very disjointed run, and I won't say what the run is unless I score this interview. But anyway, the point being is
Hmm.
that like one of these comic publishers like came in and they were like, no, you have to do this, and they're like, I'm on the last issue. What do you mean I have to do this? And they're like, well, you got to put it in. It's the last issue. You gotta put it somewhere.
Wow.
And they're like, what? And so I, if I say like, I just don't like it, it
Right.
doesn't mean a writer is bad. It also doesn't mean a writer is
Yeah.
good. Well, actually, it does mean a writer is good if I say I like it, right? But like, it's not necessarily bad if I don't like it. It just depends.
Right.
let's see. What did I read? I read Action Comics 1064, Ultimate X-Men 2, Wolverine 47, Batman and Robin 8,
Okay.
Invincible Iron Man 17, Resurrection of Magneto 4, X-Men 97 number 2, Miss Marvel Mutant Menace number 2, Weapon X-Men 2, Edge of Spider-Verse 3 I skimmed through.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing Spider-Man 47 I read. Transformers 7, Fantastic Four 19, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers The Return 3 by Boom Studios, and then Hercules number 1 by Dynamite. And that's the Disney, because Disney has been doing.
I almost bought that.
Yeah, Disney has been doing Disney comics through Dynamite, not Marvel.
Yeah.
Like,
Weird, right?
very specifically, like their cartoon movie adaptation
Mm-hmm.
stuff they've been doing through Dynamite. And so I read
Right.
Hercules 1 because I love Greek mythology, even the
I do.
Disney-fied Greek mythology,
Me too.
cuz
Me
it's
too.
off, right? Like
Yeah,
the
right.
the way
It's the
Disney and
drama of
Hercules
it
did
all.
it, but like okay, fine.
Yeah.
And so we'll go over all that. So, those were our lists, yours and mine. Obviously there was a lot of crossover. Like we crossed over like
Yeah,
10
for
books. There's like a 10
sure.
book overlap with what we read. What is your pick of the week?
My pick of the week this week is gonna be I and you know what? It's not like I didn't plan on it, like thinking of it before I got here, and then I looked at the books. It's gonna be Weapon X-Men number 2 for sure. I
It
think,
was
yeah.
surprisingly good.
Yeah, right? Right? Like it
I
was very interesting.
I hate Earth X's Wolverine. Like before this, I didn't feel like sorry for him like I did in this book. But like in the original
Mm.
Earth X, like I have you read Earth X?
I didn't. Now I
It's
want to now.
I mean, I'm going to go back and revisit it, but it has a lot of what I hate about Marvel is when they
Mm.
retcon the Celestials into like the
The
Earth.
creation of everything.
Yeah, the creation of everything. Like
Yeah.
it's so weird to me. It's like the
Hmm.
Celestials evolved us. It's so 2001: A Space Odyssey. I don't know if you
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about. Yeah.
and so this is what nerds do when we get a podcast. It's like
Right.
it's a, it's
Right.
a so of course, you know what I'm talking about. 2001. But it's like, why does the Marvel Earth have to like start off, even from like the Earth's inception being different than ours? Like, why can't they just, you know what I mean? Like, it just makes their world
Right.
so much different than ours. So I don't like Earth X because of that. It does a
Mm.
lot of that. Like the Celestial came, put the Celestial seed inside the Earth, and then things are happening. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of a weird story. I'm not into it. Alex Ross's art is good, but that's it.
Always. That's
Anyway,
the one with the Earth X. Okay, as soon as you said Alex Ross, instantly saw the picture of
yeah,
Earth X.
that's the one with like there's Deadpool who is like a circus no, it's Ghost Rider. Is it who is what's his name? I think it's Ghost Rider, but like people people's theory is that it's Deadpool as Ghost Rider. Anyway, it's this whole thing. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain with
Mm.
Earth X. Anyway, in this one, you have the Earth X, um, you have the Earth X Wolverine, who, and you get
Mhm.
this little backstory that you don't get in Earth X, which is essentially how
Yeah.
come he lost all his hair and gained weight and like whatever, you know?
Right. Right. And the story of like him and Jean and how like her losing her power and like him doing all this essentially for her and like just seeing like their relationship like kind of play out and fizzle out. I was like, that it's a real moment. And I kind of liked it. I was surprised. But what I like most is Jane out of this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
The female Wolverine. For
Oh,
those who don't
Jane,
know,
yeah.
yeah, and she's like, out of all these men fall in love with this one woman. He said, I've avoided getting married my whole life, and in every other world, I fall for this one woman. And I'm like, yeah, it is kind of pathetic, babe.
I'm not a fan, and I realize this, and we're not gonna get off topic and talk about X-Men 97 episode 5.
Right,
You know, we're gonna have an episode on
we're holding.
Sunday about it, but I don't like Wolverine being a creep towards Jean Grey, and I don't
Yeah.
like the idea of Jean Grey cheating on Cyclops with Wolverine. Like, I just don't like that dynamic. I
Mhm.
like the idea that in another universe they're together. Like in the Age of Apocalypse
Right,
universe, they're together,
right,
right?
right. Yeah, exactly. And I do like I'm on the fence about it in certain aspects, just because he Scott cheated too. That's I'm like, if he cheated, and
Yeah,
also because of their relationship that they had, like how intense their connection is. But I wouldn't want them to like go a full blown like cheating moment. Like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
give like a kiss and then do and go like that. And I was like, that's the way to go about it. That's all I need.
I feel like we're letting these guys off the hook because we like these characters, but okay, that's fine.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Because in
Yeah,
real life, they're trash. But
right.
because
That's kind of the thing. Like when people talk about like Avatar: The Last Airbender and everything, I
mhm,
get it. Where people are like Zuko, like like they like
yeah, the
him,
Zuko and
and I
Katara
get it. But
thing.
like in real life, Zuko would be an asshole, and like
Oh no, for sure.
why would I ever want to be friends with Zuko? But like
And Sokka, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
I get it. I get it. So um, with Weapon X-Men, the premise of this, just real quick, is that Wolverines from multiple universes in the multiverse team up because a Phoenix from one of the universes says that like Onslaught is jumping universe to universe and it's going to create some problems. This is the multiverse stuff that I like, which is like Exiles. So like
Yes,
I'm a big fan
I
of
was just about to say
Exiles,
that. I am too. Yeah,
but like I don't like multiversal Avengers for some reason. I don't like what if, like for some reason I just don't like I don't like multiversal Avengers.
I've never. I don't think I've read a multiversal story from. Well,
Have you
the
read
one where
Avengers
they.
Forever
Uh,
that came out like recently?
I didn't get to read that. I stopped reading the Jason Aaron run like halfway through, and I wanted to read it. The only reason I stopped is because Reborn came out, and then it confused me because I came back to the series, and the baby was a toddler, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What's happening? Why is this going on?"
The baby kept
And yeah,
hyper aging.
yeah, I saw that, and now I want to read more of it, finish it, but now I'm like, do I want to?
Yeah. Yeah. Um I don't know. Weapon X-Men,
But
pretty good,
hey,
pretty,
yeah,
pretty good
I
stuff.
like it. I
Also, it was
always love
pretty
a moment where
hardcore
we get
too, right?
Daniel. Yeah, I always love a moment where we get a Danielle Cage as Captain America moment,
Yeah.
and like her like running the Avengers, and I like this alternate Earth where we get Madeline Pryor and Scott Summers stayed together after they after Jean came back, and like they had kids. The way they like explained it, that they had all of them. Like it's not just like one or two; it's like three or four.
Yeah.
And like I like we get to see like the house, the home, and we get to see what's his name, Magic as a Sorcerer Supreme,
Yeah.
the kids, like what ifs. I like that moment. It was a nice little
Part
story, but that it did get very dark.
I also I like the idea again as like yes, a straight guy, but like also like from an aesthetic point of view that like
Hmm.
Magic, even when she's Sorcerer Supreme, she still has the
Oh,
booty shorts,
for
she
sure.
still has the midriff,
Yeah,
and
right.
like that's just like her thing. No matter what universe it is,
Yeah.
she's like, I'm gonna rock this bod. That's it.
right, with the Sorcerer Supreme
Yeah.
cape on, and I'm like, okay, babe. Like, I was like, I was like, so you can't just like get any like regular pants, and but the hot pants is her look, and she said she's gonna stick with it, and
I
I can only respect it.
it's kind of like when I was younger, and like one of my friends was like, if you were a Green Lantern, like what would your costume look like? And I'm like, it'd probably have like a full mask so it wouldn't show my face, but I would also have
Yeah.
short sleeves so I could show off my arms. It's kind of like that. Like it's kind of like
I
that.
like it.
Like
I respect it.
magic's like,
Yeah,
all right, that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm like, okay,
right.
I'm not getting
Gotta
caught
let the
with
gamble
long
breathe.
sleeves in my superhero outfit. I'm not doing that.
Never.
No.
Right.
So
They gotta know why I'm a superhero. The
yeah,
fuck you mean?
you know, but it was funny because I would wear a full face mask. It's like, what are you doing? I don't know.
Why are we doing
Got to
this?
conceal my identity, but still have
Right.
short sleeves, you know. So anyway, Weapon X-Men's cool, and also Weapon X-Men number 2 kind of has a happy ending for that gray-haired Wolverine in that universe. Like he has a
Yeah.
family, like he's with Mariko,
Right.
and he has a family,
He
and
have
it's just, and he's
3
gonna
kids.
be like, he's seeing his daughter get married, and like, good
Yeah.
for him.
Like right. He gets to, and he like the seeing the realization of I did like the little moment of when he asked the Earth X Wolverine, he's like, "Are you okay?" No. He's like, "No, I'm clearly not okay." And I'm like, this is I was like, you get to see like this moment of him seeing, oh, this could have been me. Like
Yeah,
and
I
all of their reaction to him and Mariko. I was like, oh, this is nice.
I was so glad that Onslaught jumped to a new universe at the end because I was afraid he was gonna mess that good universe up. I
Me
was worried.
too. Dimitri, I was so scared. I was like, this is a nice universe here. I was like, I don't want them to like destroy this, especially after like he possessed like I thought he took Madeline at first. And I was like, okay, this is scary. And shout out to them giving Madeline and Cable an actual relationship in this. Like
Yeah,
the like him calling Jean Aunt Jean instead of mom is a good moment. And I like that. I did appreciate that. I was very scared they were going to just like chop this one up to the game like the first one, and I was
yeah,
going to be very kind of butthurt about that.
yeah. Also, I think what's cool about like recently with this Madeline and the Madeline in the '97 series, and
Mhm.
like in the comics, like they're trying to like work her towards some sort of like redemption arc.
Yes,
They're making her more than just like a hysterical woman kind of trope, which is nice. And
right.
like
She's
it
crazy.
everybody's, relatively dealing with it logically. And I think it also it
Yes,
makes me think of Young Justice, the cartoon, when Roy you saw that, right? You've seen it?
yes, I
When
love it.
when
Yes,
Roy comes
yes,
back and
one
they're
of my
like,
favorite cartoons.
what do you mean comes back? Like it's a clone. Like it was always a clone, and like,
Yeah,
and
it was
so
never him.
they deal
Yeah,
with that, and they're like, nah, they're like brothers, like let's
right.
treat clones like brothers, like
And I love that
siblings.
they deal with it that way.
They're not
Yes,
abominations, right?
and like I do that exactly, exactly, and I love that they treat them like they don't treat them like, oh, she's just a secondary. They give Madeline her own autonomy, and like they're giving her. I feel like Madeline's getting the she's getting the Emma Frost treatment, kind of like sneakily coming out of the out of the woodworks and becoming like a very notable character now.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Um,
never would I thought she would have been it
let's hit something that's not X-Men
for
related.
sure.
We'll go back and forth, uh,
Okay.
because I mean we can go down X-Men for like forever, right? Like,
You know,
because
right? That's gonna
I
be a
already
rabbit hole,
have like so many other things I want to talk about X-Men for, but no, no. Action Comics
right?
1064. It is the Superman comic. It's
Yeah.
the Super Family comic. It's the first issue of House
Hmm.
of Brainiac, the tie-in event. Now,
Yeah.
this is mostly going to be a Superman sort of crossover event across different super
Hmm.
titles, but also it is tying in like some like Green Lantern this week. I didn't read it, but supposedly it tied in with
Yeah.
House of Brainiac.
Okay.
Now I have the hiccups. But anyway, this is the first issue in House of Brainiac. I liked this issue. I like
Yeah.
Superman comics have been firing on all cylinders lately, and
Yeah. They haven't missed.
it's been really it's a really good time to be a Superman fan. And it's a really good time to jump on and become a Superman fan.
To be honest, bro, I never in my life would I have said, like, I made it a point to never be a Batman, Superman, Captain America kind of fan. I don't want
Yeah,
to be but I'll be damned if these action comics aren't great. Like ever since I jumped on it, like because of the future state of the head of the House of L comic, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give the action comics a chance. From issue 1049, I was just like, okay, this is actually a good comic. Like, and it's not just about Superman, and they make him a actual person, and like a family man, and like just like it doesn't just center around him, it centers around the kids, and like like Superboy's coming back, Connor Kent is back, and like I love that.
yeah. I'm a big fan, and like I can't pretend that like I like all the Super Family the same. Like I have my favorites,
Yeah.
and I have others that
Yeah.
just aren't standing out to me. Sure,
Oh, who's your
but
favorite?
like that's family in general, right? Like you're gonna have
Right,
like
exactly.
your favorite cousins and your not so favorite cousins, and that's okay, you know.
Exactly. Who's your
But like
who's your
this is
favorite who's your favorite one?
who's my favorite like super family.
Yeah, who's your favorite super? Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you were asking me
And
who
your least favorite.
my favorite cousin, and I'm like, you don't know my cousins, and
Oh,
like
Joe's the worst.
I I don't know, like I can't choose a favorite cousin. I can choose my least favorite cousins, but I that's neither for here nor there. Um, my super family is Connor. Like Connor is one of my favorites, and then like I like Jonathan Kent, but I think I like Connor
Yeah.
better, and I think like
Yeah.
I do wish that Jonathan stayed a kid, you
Yes.
know, because I
Yes,
wish that
bro.
he stayed Damien's age. He wouldn't have been
Yes,
not the
exactly.
same age as the twins, but like because they're younger, you
He would have been
know.
a little bit older.
But like if he was
Right.
like
And that would have been a good dynamic.
yeah, a high school Jonathan Kent with a high school Damien, you know, it would have been
Yes.
nice. But you know, the ship has sailed. It is what it is. But I do like Connor. Connor is one of my
Yeah, he's
favorites.
my favorite too.
You know. But yeah, this was a good beginning of the arc, and like Brainiac has come in, and then there's a bunch of
Right.
Zarnians, and like I like the idea that the Zarnians are like, oh yeah, this Lobo guy, he's not that like powerful. Like we're obviously more powerful, you know.
Right.
But then Superman
I was
still
like,
one ups
oh,
them, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. There's kind of a back and forth, you know. Um,
right.
yeah. Um, you got thoughts?
I like that we get to see. Yeah, I'd like that we got to see the Zarnians more. Like we don't get to really see much of them, and we finally get to see, especially now it kind of makes sense. All of a sudden, it click like that's why he calls himself the main man, and he overcompensates because he's not the best, but he's
I think
he
he's
wants
gonna
people
cut.
to
I
think he
think at
is.
the end of this, he's gonna come out as the best.
Yeah, for sure.
You
Oh
know,
yeah, for
like
sure.
he's gonna get his ass kicked. Lobo's gonna get his ass kicked, and then he's gonna come
Oh, so
out
go
and be like, you know, I'm still the main man.
right.
I want to see Lobo like redeem himself. I want to see him
Yeah,
like come out on top because he is, you know, he is the Bastich that like you know he says Bastich,
yes.
right? He is the
I love
Bastich that we
Baptist.
love, right? Like
Yeah,
if we're gonna vote for
that's one
any
crazy
Bastich,
bastard.
he's our Bastich, right?
Yeah, that's one crazy son of a bastard. I will say. I
Yeah,
will say.
yeah. Uh, well, I want to touch on a good series real quick that you didn't read, and that's Transformers. So Transformers number
Yeah.
7 came out. That's Image Comics
Oh yeah,
by way of
you're digging
Skybound.
that.
What's up?
Hmm. I said yeah. I said you've been digging that.
Yeah, it's been good. I there are some issues that aren't as good as others, but like these issues have been really picking up, and it really uh who writes it? I forget. But the point being, Daniel Warren Johnson, I think. Anyway, the point being is that like it's really good. It really uses sequential storytelling. Um,
Hmm.
like because we all know, for example, that we like in America in English we read left to right, and
Right.
so knowing that because it's different from manga, right? Japanese read
Right. Exactly.
right to left,
From right
so
to
you
left.
have to when you design your panels, you have to keep that in mind. So like
Hmm.
Transformers for this is not only like really good, it's like a wartime epic sort of thing, but also it really uses that left to right dynamic to make it almost animated in your mind. Um,
Mm.
so like for example, there is a robot that gets his half his face blown out as he's talking, but because the dialogue is on the left, and then the good side of his face is on the left, and then the blown out face is on the right, you read it and then see his face get blown apart. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Okay. 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 And it's funny because I see it as it's happening. I'm like, okay, I like that. I like that.
Like it's almost like it
Utilizing the space.
it's like it's not animated, right? But it's almost like
Right.
your mind animates it. And yeah, it is
Yeah.
Daniel Warren Johnson with art by Jorge Corona. The art is gritty and like you would think that a Transformers book would be about being, clean and pristine, but there's
Right.
it's kind of more like a war comic than it is like a Michael Bay Transformers movie.
Yeah. And Loki, that's really all. That's really what they've always been about. It's kind of always been like a wartime comic.
Depends, right? Sometimes it's all about
Yeah.
like the cool and the flashy and the whatnots, but I mean, these guys are at
Right.
war.
But yeah, exactly. That's what I'm like. Even when it's like really flashy and just like explosion, boom, boom, shoot 'em ups, it's still like a, it's still always like a wartime thing that's on in the background. Them trying to get to what is it? What is their whole
Cybertron,
home? That's it,
yeah.
Cybertron.
It's definitely a good book, worth picking up. No complaints, you
Is
know.
that your pick of the week though?
Oh, did I not pick a pick of the week?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, you know what my pick of the week is? I,
What?
I can't believe we didn't talk about. Yeah, I don't. I forgot I didn't say my pick of the week. Resurrection of Magneto #4. We got to talk about this.
Respectfully, understandably, yeah, because
Uh,
it was good.
Here's the thing. I didn't like the first couple issues of Resurrection of Magneto. Like it was too out there. Something that I always talk about is I don't like dream sequences. I don't like things where
Hmm.
I'm like, is it real? Is it not real? Does it
Yeah.
matter? Does it not matter? Like what's actually
Hmm.
happening? Is it metaphorical? Is it literal?
Right.
That sort of thing. And so like Storm essentially like going through like this weird like life and death kind of like trying to get Magneto
Yeah.
back to life. It didn't really interest me, but now in this issue, I thought it was going to end at issue 3. He steps out of the portal, he's alive. I thought like bada bing, bada boom, that's it. But then
That's it.
issue
Right.
4 was him
Hmm.
attacking an Orcus station, and
Yeah.
and like it's really interesting how he's more reserved than the X-Men are right now.
Right.
He was like he didn't
Right.
want to kill anyone,
Yes.
but
Like you
then
can
oof,
see he learns a lesson. Like you can see like the antithesis of everything he's been through has kind of like reached like a kind of like like a finite point where he like, okay, Charles, I get it. Like I get what you were trying to say and what you were trying to do. Don't like the method, but I understand it. Which the way you kind of like the way the point that you're trying to make about us coexisting, and like it feels different than his other times of like turning good or understanding Charles's dream. It feels more like it feels more purposeful, kind of.
right. I think he's healed a little bit. Maybe
Yeah.
he's left some trauma behind, with
Yeah.
coming back to life. But like,
Right.
I'm liking his look. I like that his his helmet now hugs his face,
Yeah, yeah.
and
It's not just like
like
a clunky.
it reminds me more of like Scarlet Witch's and Polaris's
Yes,
crown, like their
yes.
crowns that they hug their face, right? So Magneto's
Hmm.
essential helmet is almost like very much like that. Um,
Right.
I I love the moment where he's like mutant powers are instantaneous. They are an extension. They are their our body, right?
Yes.
Like this is Magneto's week, by the way. With between
Yeah.
X Men '97 and this,
And
like
this, yeah.
those humans were like, look, if our systems detect you use your powers against us, we flood this with a nerve toxin. And he's like, well, you know, like I just have to like he had to make
Circumstance
that decision
almost instantaneously.
so fast, and he's like, okay, and he crushes everybody into
Cool.
a ball of metal and gore.
And right, dripping blood. Like I was
Ugh.
like, what is I was like, I was like, are they really showing this? And I
We
was
don't even see it
totally
happen
okay
because
with it.
it's almost like it happens so fast, right?
Yes, exactly. But in the way they describe it, like you see, like it paints the picture. Like
Yeah,
it painted the picture so good. Like that process when he said the process ignores the bodies inside the suit and the sound is wet. And I'm like, the gross.
right,
And perfectly illustrated the point.
right.
But the moment I liked was the human mutant circuit that they did with Blue Marvel and Storm and them
Yeah,
all three of them together. That was a nice moment. Like I love that he's like really just embracing this coexistence thing like to its fullest like kind of thing. And the way he talks about it in his like dialogue, his monologues in his head, especially about like when he had to actually kill when he had to kill the Orcus agents, he was like, I didn't want to have to do that, but this is like you can see like he's doing it as a very last resort. And I fucked with this really I really like this really hard, like a lot.
yeah,
Like even the subtle change he made with his helmet at the when he finally picked which helmet that he wanted to wear
yeah,
for it. I like that.
yeah. There was something really cool about this.
Yeah.
Again, this issue took something metaphorical and made it reality. So I like
Yes.
that. Like this was the real issue. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay. And then he jets off to go help Iron Man.
Yeah.
Did you read
Yeah.
Invincible Iron Man 17?
Yeah, I actually started with I was about to read Invincible Iron Man and then I saw that he was in it. Then I was like, oh wait, let me stop this on page 2 and go back and read Resurrection of
Yeah,
Magneto.
yeah.
And yeah, that's what I
Um,
definitely ended up doing that.
so I'll be honest, I didn't like this issue just because, again, it's not real up until like he meets Fei Long. So
Hmm.
like they're all like ghosts from his past, and then he meets
Yeah,
Fei Long, and then Magneto comes to save him, and it's like okay,
right.
so I felt like this
See,
series has been like it was really good, and then it's been
hmm,
spinning its gears to like catch up to other stuff. Like it's been waiting
yeah,
for Magneto to catch up to it, and then for
right.
them to like, and then the Avengers issue that came out last week
Yes,
ties in with Fall of the House of X. So
yeah,
like they're
and
all
it
kind of
finally
like
did.
trying to figure it out, you know?
Yeah, and it finally did. Like it finally answered the question when everybody was thinking, "What the hell is the Avengers doing right now?"
Yeah, you know.
And but yeah, I liked it though. I thought the Invincible Iron Man was really good. See, where you hate the dream sequences and like ethereal moments, I do tend to like them. Especially with the Magneto things in the beginning of it, just because it reminds me of like the trial of Magneto with like the Scarlet
Ooh,
Witch stuff.
yeah.
It kind of gave me that kind of feel of
Ooh.
like them going through that process. But the Tony Stark stuff, it did confuse me a bit because I was like, I was like, is this something that's happening because of your concussion? Is this something that's like really happening in your mind that you're seeing them? That was what was, confusing me. And when they said that, I'm not gonna lie, when they said he was meeting his father, I low key thought it was gonna be Mephisto, and I was like, oh,
But that's not actually
that's
his
gonna be a
father.
moment. Like, isn't it though?
No, I think they were like that was Mephisto just fucking with him.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's not actually
good.
the son of Mephisto.
I hate that I stopped reading just as I found that. I stopped reading Avengers just as I found
I
that
forget
out.
what happened, but yeah, it was weird. I don't know.
It was, yeah, just it's just like how they say the Phoenix is Thor's mother.
It is and it's not.
It
Like,
is right, exactly. It is, but it's not
yeah,
really.
yeah,
I haven't even. Yeah, that's a whole story within itself. But but
yeah,
Iron Man I thought was good at the end when they finally got to the Fei Long Stark battle.
yeah,
Um, and the moment of like her asking of Magneto asking Magneto to help her husband. I was like, this is a nice
yeah,
little
yeah.
thing. I kind of now want her and him and Emma to stay together for a little bit longer. Just a little
I
bit longer. Like,
I would love. Okay, this is what I would love. I know the new era of X-Men is coming, right? And we know that
mm-hmm,
Emma is going to Chicago with Kitty and the three
yeah,
new students, right?
hmm
I would like for Tony and Emma to annul their marriage. You know, they would probably
hmm
annul it, but date. Like do it
yeah,
again. Be like, look, we did
right.
this because it was part of conspiracy.
Let's try
This
it
is,
the real way.
but let's go on our first date. Let's see.
Yeah,
Let's see. And I'm not
right.
romanticizing the two of them because I hated the idea of Tony Stark and Emma
Absolutely
dating,
hated it.
but they
Abhorred it,
work
y'all.
together because they're lovable assholes.
Right.
You know,
That's exactly it.
so
They
like,
they're both
let's see
they're
that.
both privileged and they use their privilege for good. And you like it. You can appreciate it.
Yeah, it's weird because in one of these books this week, Emma was like something something. Gotta, can you go save my husband? Oh yeah, I think it was
Yeah,
in Resurrection Man. And in my
yeah.
head,
At
I
the
was
end of
like,
Resurrection.
Cyclops and her are married, and I was like, no, no, that's because that was the first thing I thought of. I was like, I forgot for a split second that Tony Stark and her were married.
I low key thought that's who was going to be married to Scott in the Weapon X-Men, and then I flipped the
Ooh,
page and I was like, oh, prior.
yeah. Um. So yeah. That's Iron Man 17. I want to also touch on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers: The Return #3.
Yeah.
Again, this is a series for people who really only just watched the first couple seasons of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as a kid, right? This is the original team: Kimberly, Tommy, Jason, Billy, Zach, Trini, and like what
Right.
happens to them. This is its own universe, its own continuity. It's essentially if the original six Power Rangers stayed Power Rangers into their like 20 years down the line, they were still Power Rangers. What happened? And there are some twists and turns with this book that are really good. It is written by Amy Jo Johnson, and I recommend this to anyone who's like one of those original fans of Power Rangers who they don't like. You have to like not care about the extra lore of Power Rangers because it doesn't matter.
Mm,
It's its own continuity, and there's only been those six Power Rangers.
okay.
A very streamlined version of the future of what Power Rangers were like could be.
Right.
You know?
What we know is what is.
Yeah, and that's cool. I like that,
Yeah,
so I do
I can do
recommend
that.
that. Let's. Did you like Batman and Robin #8?
I did. I did. I not gonna lie, I power skimmed through this. I read most of it and then I skimmed through the rest of it. But
Mm-hmm.
I did actually like it though. I thought it was I always like their little moment. It always this series is what I feel like Batman should be. Like we always talk about how he should be a father. This is those moments, and
Yeah,
I kind of like this.
I do like this series because it has Batman being a father. I
Yeah,
think that like they both want us to care who Shush is, and then they also don't
yeah.
want us to care who Shush is,
That's it,
right?
and that's
Like
what irritates me.
Make up
Like,
your
I thought it was
mind.
just me who thought that. Like, and I was like, what is happening? It's like you want me to care that this is his villain, but like then you jump off from that altogether. Then I'm like, now we have Man Bat, and look, they anytime they can try to put Man Bat and Batman to like against each other, they're gonna do it. And I'm like, I guess, like it's what the people want. I guess I don't know
Yeah.
what people, but
But like,
it's
what's the
what they
point
want.
of this arc? Is the point to
Yeah,
figure out who Shush is, or is this a Man Bat thing? Because that's what it is. The first couple of issues are like, who is Shush? Then
yeah.
it was like Man Bat, but then we got this like um thing with what's her name? Um like
Fallout Girl,
yeah, what's her what's
Flatline
Damien
Girl.
Damien's love's name?
You talking about Flatline?
Flatline. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So then it's like dealing with Flatline, and so it's like
Yeah.
I don't know what's okay. I think the question of who is Shush both doesn't matter and has taken a backseat.
Right. Yeah. I feel like it should have definitely been something that they like held out more. They like put a little bit more interest in, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, because it also like it doesn't matter who she is because no matter who it is, none of those people are very that matter that much.
Yeah.
You
Like
know,
she's not as intense as Hush was. Like, you know what I
like
mean?
yeah. Also, it is very evident who Hush is because it's like who is Hush? Any of these people or this new character that was just
Okay.
introduced? Like
Right.
okay,
The
like
bandage guy, yeah, for sure.
it was supposed to be a red hair like they were like oh we're supposed to think like Thomas Elliott's a red herring but he is so he's like a red herring. I don't know anyway uh moving on uh did you skim through Edge of Spider-Verse or not?
No, I didn't get to read that
I
one.
I skimmed through it. It starts off it has two stories in Edge of Spider-Verse which this is like I guess every year has an Edge of Spider-Verse miniseries. So I guess this is like Edge of Spider-Verse for 2024 and this is issue 3 cuz I don't know, it gets confusing. I don't know. It's really uh the first story has to do with Star Spider and the second story has to do with Web Weaver, Orb
Yeah,
Weaver, whatever the name is.
Web Weaver, yeah.
Web
That's why
Weaver.
I wanted to read it mainly for that one.
We've seen Web Weaver before. I skipped
Mhm.
through that part mostly. I didn't have enough time. I read the Star Spider one, and like Star Spider's cool, and like great for representation. I don't know whether I care as much about any alternate universe Spider people anymore. I don't I don't know.
Yeah,
I think I've reached
they
my
have
limit.
to. Yeah, they have to have like a big like little arc, but I mean, let's be real. How many times do we have to go to the edge of the Spider Verse?
Right,
Like just
right.
yeah, and then it's already crazy that we have a Venom verse in the world, which I just
Right.
why is that a thing that's happening
Right.
also, you
There's
know?
also Gwenverse, right? There's like a
Oh my God, she does have a verse. Yeah.
yeah. So it's
God.
like, okay, that's fine. I get it. I'm okay with it. I just think that some of these are just like I don't know. I don't know. It's fine. It
Yeah.
is what it is. People who
It's just
like it
fine.
are gonna pick it up, and people who don't like it, they don't have to
Exactly.
pick it up. And just, Star Spider has a cool suit and everything. I'll say that, you know?
I still might read it.
So it is what it is. Though I don't think we get the name. It's so fun. Okay, so just a little thing about Star Spider. It's Persephone Parker, Percy Parker. She is black and she is a lesbian. And
Oh.
Norman Osborn is a professor with a daughter who Persephone is dating. I don't
Huh.
I don't think the daughter has a name, but I'm assuming it'd be something like Harriet Osborn. Like, I'm sure
Right.
it's Harry Osborn, but they don't name the daughter, even though the daughter has like a big speaking role in this. So maybe I missed it, but I don't think they named the daughter. But
Yeah.
Percy is
Yeah.
dating Norman Osborn's daughter, essentially.
I love that. Damn it. Now I'm gonna read it now. So okay, so it's just a whole gay issue, and how about
Yeah,
that?
it's like,
Okay,
I mean, it's
gotta read
cool. The
it.
art is nice. I don't know. I don't know. It just wasn't for me. I like the character, but we'll see whether we need more Edge of Spider Verse. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just for the people who want the idea of Spider-Man, of just more Spider-Man,
Yeah,
and I'm okay with it. That's what the kids want, you know.
yeah. I think we need a I think this they were gonna make Insomniac was gonna make like a massive multiplayer game where you could like create your own Spider Person and like like the Spider-Man
That
PS5 games, like they
that's
were
what
gonna
they should
do
do.
a big
Yeah.
old multiplayer game, but they decided not to. Um
Mm,
but like that would have been cool. Anyway, if this
yeah,
all
that would be
tied
cool.
in, that would have been cool. Um
Right.
let's hit some of these real quick.
Do it.
Before we run out of time. I just want to mention Speed Force number 6 is the final issue, even though it's not 6 of 6. It was never labeled it. It's the final issue of Speed Force. Now I went into this really liking the idea. I wanted to see more. We deal with Wallace Westkid Flash and Avery Ho Flash and what I forget Roundhouse and Connor Kent is also in this.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
it ends up a mess. It is a mess. And I can't figure it out. Like I could not make sense of it as I was reading it. I
Oh
couldn't make
no.
sense of it because it goes
Now
back
I'm
and
interested in
forth
what
between
happened.
like music lyrics and not. And it just I think I'm gonna have to restart it from issue 1 and try to make sense of it. I couldn't make sense of this. And maybe it's just me and maybe I'm not in the headspace and I'm a little sick last couple days, but this book did not make sense to me. And now it's over.
And now it's over, and now I just have to live with it.
I don't know. You know? Maybe I'll buy it in book in trade, and
Right.
just to show my support, but like cuz I like these characters, but damn,
Yeah.
I did not understand it.
Right. Yeah, I want to like Wallace. Every time I see him, I'm like, I like you, and I want to like you, but I feel like you need a story that's gonna make me like be like, oh, Wallace is there. Like,
Right.
I liked him in the Teen Titan when he was in Teen Titans for a little bit with Damien. That was a good little moment for him. That's
Yeah.
but that was also when I jumped back into Teen Titans.
Yeah, but that one also was a weird Teen Titans run too. It
It
was
was a weird
like
moment. It was a weird moment.
yeah. Yeah.
Like the Starfire running the team, but also Damien running it. It was very. They didn't know what they wanted to
And
do with that.
yeah. Yeah. Um Ultimate X-Men number 2. We got to talk about this.
I mean, do we? But okay.
I mean, are you not digging it cuz I'm not digging it.
I'm not. And I hate to say that because I wanted to. I wanted to like it, but I'm just. It's all right. You know, like if I'm if I'm sitting somewhere and I'm waiting for something and this is and I picked up this book, yeah, I'd be like, "Oh, this is fun." But
It's
and
not
I mean,
bad in and of itself. It just doesn't
yeah,
it's not it's like I don't know.
the art doesn't pick me up like it should, and I feel like it's not enough dialogue to really grab me into the story of what's happening. Like, because there should be no reason why I shouldn't instantly be in love with this Asian weather witch right here. Like,
Right.
like
And by the
I want
way,
to instantly love her.
when I you know where they first designed this character? What's her name, by the way? Like,
Um,
does she have a name? She has a
May.
name.
Her name is May.
May.
Mei.
May. She goes as Maystorm.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Her name's May. Okay. So May was first designed. There was like variant covers with
That
like
little
those
sidekick
the
variant,
sidekick
right?
variants, and
Yep.
so like people liked it. But I remember the sidekick variant where it was like, okay, this looks like a sidekick of Storm, but it
Right.
did originally look like a little white girl, and it was like
Yeah.
I don't know. But now that I know that she's Japanese, I can dig it. I dig
Hmm.
it better. You know?
Yeah. I always saw her. I was like, she's definitely Asian, right? I was like, she
I
looks
didn't think
like
that
a
originally.
very
You thought
much.
that originally?
Oh yeah, I instantly, for some
Mm.
reason, I instantly thought that. I was like, it couldn't be. I was like, please. I was like, at one point, I did think it was, because there was a lot of art that people made, and I was like, oh, maybe it's a white girl. I'm just seeing things like what I wanted to see, and
Yeah.
but yeah, no, like I like her, and I want to be a fan of her, but I just why is it about armor? What
Yeah,
like it
it just
just
doesn't seem like X-Men. It's like Ultimate X-Men, but
yeah,
like where are the X-Men? It's not an X-Men book. It's an
that's
armor
it.
book. So maybe if they called it Ultimate Armor and like
Right.
whatever. But
If this
like
is a Demon Day moment, cool, but
yeah, like call it something else like Ultimate
yeah.
New Mutants even. If you were like
Right.
Ultimate New Mutants or Ultimate Mutants or something, but like it just where's the X-Men in this? It just doesn't something's
Exactly.
not like I don't know.
It's not clicking. Yeah, for sure. Especially after the other two great Ultimate books that have come out, with Spider-Man and Black Panther,
Yeah.
which I finally got the first issue of Spider-Man with the fourth reprint.
Oh,
Thank
nice.
God. Now I finally
Yeah.
get to read it. But no, like I wanted more from this. Like I wanted the I wanted all of this to be way more extravagant, especially after how much people love the Ultimate book, and how much I love the Ultimate Black Panther. Even the little Ultimate Invasion book was still
Yeah. I didn't like
still,
it, but that's just me.
it was still action, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this didn't like there were still moments in Ultimate Invasion that picked my eye up, like especially
Right.
like when they're doing the government moments. But this didn't. It doesn't grab me like
It
I
seems like
wanted
it's on
to.
its own, doing its own
Yeah,
thing, and
that's
it's
exactly it,
it just doesn't seem like it
and
fits.
it doesn't
And
at
it's
all.
not
And
bad. It just doesn't seem like
right,
it fits what I thought. I don't know.
I'm I'm gonna say my favorite line from Parks and Recreation. It's not my favorite shirt, but it is my least favorite shirt, and that's the best way to describe this.
Mm,
Like, it's not my favorite, but it is my least favorite of this week for sure.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, but and it's gonna make it even worse because I know the Ultimates is gonna be good.
Really? I
I
I don't I
yeah,
don't know if the Ultimates is I'm not excited about that lineup at all.
I don't be yeah. I'm surprisingly I didn't know why they picked this bargain barrel of characters here
Yeah.
to be, but I'm for some reason I feel like it's gonna like hit in a different way for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm
All right.
optimistic.
All right. For
We'll
sure, for
see.
sure.
But on
Um
to the next one.
Wolverine 47, you said you didn't finish it or you didn't start
Yeah, I
it.
didn't get the finish one. I was butthurt about
Okay.
that one.
I won't I won't I won't tell you how it ends. But like it's cool like I think the Sabretooth War is coming
Go
to a
ahead.
close and I need it to end and I want it to
Yeah,
end and I need to figure out
yeah,
what is the reason for this crossover. That's kind of the
yes.
thing. That's my thing about crossovers and
That's what I want to end.
events. There needs to be a purpose. Why are we having an event? There
That
needs to
part.
be some long lasting ramifications. There needs to push something forward.
Yes,
And I think a big thing is like, where is Sabretooth going to be once this whole thing ends?
that's it.
And I don't
That's the big thing.
know. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm scared. I'm honestly scared that they're gonna, because I feel like this could be especially the way they ramp this up. This could be a real big like character arc moment for either like you either decide, oh, I'm gonna be just dive into villainy, or I'm gonna be like, oh, I come to a realization about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But like I feel like it needs to be a very like concrete moment for him instead of just like sweeping this under the rug and being like, "Oh, he died, that's it," or like, "Oh, he lost, like, back to his hole until
Right.
next birthday." You know what I mean? Like, I feel
Right.
like that's why I'm more anticipated. Like, I'm anticipating the ending because I'm like, where, how is this going to end?
Oh,
Especially with the things that they've been trying to do with him.
yeah. Also, like, what more can you do with Sabretooth? I'm tired of
Yeah,
Sabretooth to the point where I'm like, but where can you logically go with him? So I'm very interested on how that how that
yeah,
works. He is kind of a one trick pony. Um
yeah.
What we did
If
find
you
out today, by the way, today's Marvel
Mhm.
Marvel news is that we do know that Laura X-23 Wolverine is going to be in the new NYX comic. Did you see that?
No, I did not, but I
Okay.
was hoping so
So the
because
lineup for
that's
the
our
new
comic.
the new NYX comic is going to be 5 mutants, and nobody knows who the fifth mutant is, but we think it's a cuckoo. But basically, it's Miss Marvel, it's
Okay,
Laura, it's
okay,
Anoli, it's Prodigy, and I. By the way, I don't want to say just because they're both like queer characters that they're gonna date, but they might be
they
dating.
better,
I don't know.
they
Are they?
better damn not.
Okay, I'm just saying. Anoli and Prodigy are there. I'm just saying. And then there's a blonde girl that some people are thinking it's one of the cuckoos. And so it's supposed to be a five mutants hanging out in New York. Somebody's like, is it the mutant friends? Like, is that what it is?
That's it, and
But
I want it.
but like, okay, fine, you know. So we do know that like they come out of this, you know, the whole Sabretooth war. At least Laura has a
Right.
future, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm kind of excited. I want to see. I kind of think it's going to be a cuckoo if you, since you said that. I don't know why, but I just want to know what's going on with the cuckoos because we have not seen. We've only seen one of them since this whole thing went down,
Mm,
and like we still haven't gotten the prophecy that Destiny gave them yet of two will find love, one will be severed from your connection and one will never be the same again. One
mm,
will be forever changed by it. And I'm like, I need to know. We need to know what's going on with that.
yeah.
I need to know where those girls are.
Eh. Writers like to do this thing where they drop premonitions and then they don't pick it up for like 20 years.
Yeah,
They like come like Chris Claremont will come back later and he'll be like, "Oh
right.
yeah, blah 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 blah," you know?
Remember
Um
14 years ago when I said that prophecy that I that we just dropped over right after that one comic? Well,
yeah,
guess what? It's here.
right. Like the third Summers brother, that whole thing like that's
Yeah,
been like a,
they're
you
bringing
know,
back the 12 thing now. In one of the new comics that's coming up. They're bringing back
really.
they're bringing back the 12 arc apparently.
Huh.
I think it's the new Archangel comic that's coming out.
Okay. Maybe. All right.
Yeah,
We'll see.
they said let's give it a call try again. You
Yeah.
know, we couldn't get the first time.
Let's rush through the rest of
Do
these.
it.
X-Men 97 number 2. It's a really good book and
Cute.
this X-Men 97 comic that bridges the gap
Yeah,
between the original series and the new series
right.
um has been really kind of just cool. Just like a cool comic,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
you hear the dialogue, like,
Yeah.
like it's like you're watching this. It's like the dialogue that's happening in the show. You can tell like they wrote on, if not consulted with the people who wrote the show.
Yeah.
Especially in the dialogue of Jean and Scott and Storm and her and Logan. Like
Yeah.
I do love it. Like this is very high key drama that
Yeah.
we get to see the Jean finding out she's pregnant and the whole conversation and Logan finding out,
Yeah.
which look here,
Like
that man is the definition of crying in the car. He gonna cry in the car.
he needs to get over it. Like, come
Yeah, bro.
on.
Yeah, like
Jean's not your
you're
woman.
becoming
Like, come on. Like,
yes, like that's it. Like she's married with the whole she's
yeah,
married with the whole child now. Like you have to get over it. And like it was one thing I was like, okay, before like in the beginning where they got married, cool, but now she got a whole child now. Like let it
yeah,
go, bro.
yeah, yeah. Miss Marvel Mutant Menace number 2, I feel like was almost like a standalone issue. It didn't really tie in
Yeah,
with issue number 1,
that's
but it
exactly
was
what
a really good issue.
it was a filler episode, and I loved it. Yeah, it was good. So we get a Lila Cheney moment,
Yeah,
we and it's always that I forget about Lila Cheney until Lila Cheney is right in front of me, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's another. There's is more than just like Dazzler.
yeah,
Like it's her.
yeah. Um, I also like I didn't know that Lila Cheney can't teleport short distances.
Yes.
She can only
Yeah, I
teleport long distances, which sounds
mhm,
like, oh, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but it kind of is in a weird way.
mhm,
It's kind of funny.
right. Yeah, and I always love a power that's like a quirky power, like
Yeah,
it's some kind of like caveat to it, and
yeah,
I do like that moment. I do like hers where she has to go all the way across the universe to go all the way across the universe, then come back.
yeah,
Like that's annoying and it's hilarious.
yeah, yeah.
But like she could only it was at one point where she could only go through doorways, but now they like made it to where she's like just teleporting everybody out like nothing's wrong. So I was like, okay,
All right.
that's a nice little moment power
Yeah.
upgrade, I guess.
Let's hit Red Hood the Hill number 3.
Not much to talk about the Red Hood.
All right.
It's honestly it feels like the same issue as the first and the second one. To be honest, like it feel like it didn't really change. It's ramping up to something, but like it's the evil bad guy,
Mm,
blah blah. But
yeah.
I still like it for Jason Todd, like Jason Todd having a moment and
All right.
having his own city. Yeah,
Yeah. And it's nice
for
to
people
see
who like
the
Jason
more
Todd.
ethnic part of Gotham, right?
Yes, exactly. I look. I don't know why, and I said it last time, but I say it again. I just love that Jason Todd loves the sisters, and he just he's always going to have a sister on his
Yeah.
team, and he knows they get it done,
Yeah.
and I love that for him. He just understands it. But yeah, I like that they're giving for people who like Jason Todd comics. I feel like they will like it.
Okay.
I'll say
All
that.
right. Sinister Sons 3, you mentioned that you didn't really read it.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't I
didn't
didn't read it.
really read it. It was they're still doing shenanigans. Their
It yeah.
their hair still looks horrible.
Yeah.
It looked like they changed their hairstyles, but it still looks like trash.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
there's that.
I'll jump back on at a certain point, but
Mm,
for
you don't
now,
have
yeah.
to.
I want to like these kids. I just don't.
Yeah.
You know. I think I'm trying to think of the last. I read Amazing Spider-Man 47,
Oh yeah,
which
yeah, yeah.
which it is surprisingly good. It is surprisingly good. It's picking back up,
Okay.
and only at the end do we get Chasm and um, Hallows Eve at the end.
Halloween,
So
yeah.
it is what it is.
Okay.
I would say this one's a pretty good issue. Fantastic Four number 19 is a really good issue. It is more standalone, but it
It's
is
a lot of
kind of a
standalone issues this
fun.
week.
What's that?
It's a lot of standalone issues this week.
Yeah, but like it's a fun book. I don't know. It's fun. And then last but not least, Hercules number 1 from Dynamite.
Yeah.
Basically in this run, it takes place after the movie. Hercules decides to, even though he gets brought back to godhood, he gives it
Hmm.
up to be on Earth. And so he's with
Okay.
Megara, he's with Phil, like he's on Earth, and then Zeus is like, when are you gonna
Okay.
come to Olympus? And they're really exploring. So my theory that I've talked about is that the Disney Hercules is essentially Superman. Like they changed
Yeah.
so much to his
Yeah.
origin story, they purposely they make it Superman,
It makes.
and it
Yeah.
has to be on purpose, because they do this
Gives kids what
thing.
they want.
Like literally everything about Superman's origin story is put into Hercules the movie, and so in this, he he's just almost like a superhero on Earth.
Yeah. Oh my god. And I'm literally playing the movie out of my head. The farmer family finds him.
Yeah,
The super strength kid. Almost.
like
Yeah. He's super.
he talks to Zeus like Christopher Reeve does to Jor-El, right?
Yes.
He
In
goes
the
to the
in this.
temple, you know.
Oh
Um,
my god.
I believe his blanket becomes his cape, right?
That's my
I
favorite
could be
Disney
wrong, but
movie
I
in
think
the
the
world.
blanket that he has as a baby becomes the blue cape. I
Oh my.
think, right? Am I right?
I'm I'm that's one of my favorite movies, and now I'm about to watch that. I'm about to. I can't look at it the same now. Thank you for that. Now I'm gonna rewatch to find that out now though.
Disney's Hercules is Superman, and yeah,
I hate you for that, and thank
Yeah,
you for
look into
ruining
that. Look into that.
my
See,
favorite.
you know.
Thank you for ruining one of my favorite,
Um,
my absolute favorite Disney movies. So
but this
appreciate you,
comic
buddy.
is really good. I like this, and there's
Yeah.
jokes.
Okay.
There's jokes with it because, for example, there's a point where Hercules is boxed, like, and they don't even like overstate the jokes. You just have to know. So like he starts boxing with the antagonist of this issue. I don't want to spoil anything. And
Hmm.
they say, by Apollo's creed, blah, 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 blah. So they're talking about the god but
That's
there's
funny.
also
Okay.
Apollo Creed from Rocky.
That's
Like
hilarious.
there are
Okay.
references in this comic to things outside of it, and
Damn,
it's
I almost
funny,
bought it. I
you
should have
know.
bought it.
Like there are jokes that happen in this comic that like just really work. So if you like that sort of thing, that's a comic that's worth picking up.
Okay. Yeah. Dang it. I'm gonna read it.
It's worth it. It's worth it. We're out of time, but Aaron, thank you so much for coming on this show. Thank you for
Of
taking time out of your
course.
Thursday to be here. Tell us, where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
Of course. So as always, you guys can find me at King Kakoa on TikTok, Twitter, Discord, and you can also find me at King of Thrones on Instagram. But you can also find us. I also do a podcast as well called Life Rants, and it is on Spotify, Apple Music Podcast, and we are now on YouTube with video as well. So catch us doing that.
Awesome, awesome. For anyone out there who is watching us, you're watching us on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show. Like, comment, follow, subscribe, do your thing. We're also on podcasts. So maybe you're listening to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio. I think we're on Amazon Music for podcasts, something or another. Whatever that's called, we are on there, wherever you get your podcast from. Like, comment, subscribe, write a review. Let us know you're out there. Let us know you're listening. If you're on social media, TikTok and Instagram are our two biggest ones, at The Keeg Show. But we're also on Facebook, Twitter, Threads, all that sorts of stuff, at The Keeg Show or /The Keeg Show, including patreon.com/The Keeg Show. Follow us there if you want to give back to The Keeg. We're also at thekeegshow.com, writing articles. That's picking up pace right now, but you can check out the articles that we have, right now. The Comic Talk is one of our shows that we do every week. We do Comic Talk every week, every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We also got the Keeg Talks on the weekends. We also got the X-Men 97 after show. Stay tuned for that. We got State of X, that's monthly X-Men podcast that we do. So we got a lot of cool stuff out there. Keep up with us on TikTok and Instagram at The Keeg Show. That's the easiest way to keep up with our schedule because it's crazy out there, you know? Other than that, find a comic shop near you. Go to comicshoplocator.com. Support your local comic shops. Support your local libraries. Check out the comics that they have there. Do that sort of thing. Shout out to Darth Chaco7, who just showed up in the Twitch chat. Sorry, man, you missed it. Shout out to Trowa Barton saying what's up. Shout out to Merlin the Hermit. Shout out to every one of you who is watching and
Marlon.
or listening. That's pretty much it. Yeah, not much more to say. Thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. Once again, I am your host, Dimithri Perera, and this has been Comic Talk for the week of April 11th, 2024. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.